Hi everybody, Pastor Dale here with Devynne and some news. Most of you know that Devynne has faced a lot of medical challenges, including 4 open heart surgeries, the last of which was 3.5 years ago up in Portland. It was a big, scary deal. The anesthesiologist told Brian and Jennifer after the surgery that it was the scariest night of his life, because every time they tried to close Devynne up, she would go into cardiac arrest. But you made it through the surgery and a very long recuperation, and she recovered from all of that, but her kidneys did not. They kept thinking that they would kick back in, a couple weeks after the surgery or a few weeks more, but they never did. And so finally Devynne was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease. Her kidneys are done. And so for 3.5 years, you've had dialysis 3 times a week, 3 hours a day. You haven't been able to travel without planning for dialysis. Because of the port, you haven't been able to enjoy simple things like a shower or bath or washing your hair in the shower, having to do other things to take care of all that. And then thinking about the future, you've been looking at the possibility of a transplant. Well, at first they thought, your body wouldn't accommodate it, right?
Yeah.
And so you've been going through infusions and all of these kind of things as they've been trying to get your body ready to receive a donor kidney, and then looking for a donor kidney, which to date they haven't found, right? So it was pretty remarkable when a few weeks ago she was at dialysis, and I think it was a nurse came by and looked at your labs and looked at you and said, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, "What?" And the nurse was looking at her numbers and just said, "You don't need dialysis." And the great news that we have shared today and are sharing now, the great news is that Devynne doesn't need dialysis, and you don't need a transplant because your kidneys are working again after 3.5 years. So this is just huge news and really surprising. This was not on our radar. The doctor wasn't expecting this. Indeed, Devynne wrote this about what's gone on. She wrote a summary of her medical history and concludes, "My doctor says he has no idea how this has happened. As I look back at all the past challenges and disappointments, all the unusual circumstances, however, I see how God was preparing me and protecting me all along for something so much better." Imagine if you had been able to receive a donor kidney and a donor kidney had been quickly found. They say that donor kidneys only last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and all that time you're taking the anti-rejection drugs and all, and that would have been a whole different deal. And here your own kidneys are working again. So truly, we see how God was preparing you and protecting you all along for something so much better. I realize that the only real explanation is God. Actually, I mentioned this to my doctor, and I said, "Does that ever happen?" And my doctor looked at me and said, "God. Don't try to explain it, just God." I think that's a good way to summarize it. He has chosen to display His mercy on me, and I am humbled and in awe of Him. And so we're just really, really grateful for this tremendous news. We didn't expect this. Our prayer has always been that God would preserve and protect you, but we never expected it would be like this. To Him be all the glory and praise, huh?
Yeah.
We're so happy for you.
Thank you.
Thank the Lord.
Yes.